everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Welcome to another week of Cats versus Cards. All right, I'm your host, William Washington again. My name is Willie Dubs. This week's show, we're going to be discussing Kentucky dominating Florida, just making Florida look really silly. They're also going to be talking about what Louisville did against NC State. They survived against NC State 13-10. All right, and they got another big one that's coming up. So we're going to see what our panelists, what our guys have to say about this round, this week. See what we're like about our team. See what we're concerned about as we go forward. Also, we want to talk about if what we've seen so far, if it's caused us to change our outlook on the season. Do we still predict the same outcome? Do we think that we have a Heisman Trophy candidate on our team or whatnot? So it'll be interesting to see what the fellas come up with, what the fellas talk about. We know that we have some that's ready with their ESPN stats ready to go. And we have a new person on the show. We're going to introduce him in just a second. But just like every other week, we're live. Like and share on Facebook if you can. Share us all over the place on Facebook if you can. And also on YouTube. We're live on YouTube as well, so share that as well. All right, and if you want to be a part of the discussion, just go ahead and write in the comments. We should be able to see your chats and everything, and you can be a part of this discussion as well. That way. Soon we'll have a way to call in. We haven't gotten that yet. Yes, Dietrich, we're live. I see you right there on YouTube. Good job. All right. Soon we'll have a way for you guys to call in so you can be a part of the discussion there, but we're not there yet. With these few weeks that we've had so far, it's been all about getting the show to run nice and smooth, try to get into the rhythm of what we're trying to do here, and really organically shape the show, see how it's going to be. And you guys can be a part of that as well. So in the comments, if you guys will please, in the comments, give us some feedback. What do you like? What do you not like? What should we add? What should we take away? All right. We appreciate it all. Also, you see right there on the bottom of the screen, Will E. Dubs on Twitter. Go ahead and hit me up on Twitter. That's how you can contact me, all right? If you don't want to contact me in the chat, go ahead and contact me there, and you can be part of the discussion. And when I say that, you can also be invited on one of these shows here in the future, so you can be one of the panelists as well. So the cast that you see is not a set cast. We'll always update. We'll always change. Always keep it fresh, all right? Without further ado, we want to show who we have coming on the show today, ready to battle. See if they're ready to go, all right? So first up, I know you guys can see everybody. Let me get my mics together. At the very top, we have Richard all the way from Louisville. What's up, Rich?
Hey. L1C4, baby.
L1C4.
Cards forever.
All right. Next, we have the newcomer, Ross Taylor. What's going on, Ross? All the way from Lexington.
Hey, what's happening? Hey, listen, it's BBN. It's these Kentucky Wildcats. And you see us. These guys know. Look, you see us above and below. They know what's coming.
Yeah. Now, hey, guys, I know all three on the left side. You see that on the right side, all of them have red on. But Ross, he's got to show his support for Dunbar Bulldogs, the soccer team. So it's not Louisville. He's a Kentucky fan. It's not Louisville. All right. Look, there he goes. He's bringing up his flag, his picture. All right. Him and his wife. All right. The next one, the Perry Henderson, Mr. Stats himself, all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. What's up, Perry?
What's up, everybody? Glad to have another day to get in and rip and run. Get this talk going on about them cards. What about them cards flying high, baby?
What about them cards? All right, like I said, welcome to the show. All right, so I think last week that we started with Kentucky, and if we didn't, we just act like we started with Kentucky, all right? So this one, the first week, first up today, we're going to talk about those cards. The Cards, they outlasted NC State 13-10, and they entered into the top 25 at number 25 in the AP poll. Did they enter into the coaches poll? I don't know.
Yeah, both of them.
Both of them. Are you 25 as well?
Yep. Both polls were 25.
So they peaked in there just a little bit. And before we start breaking down what happened in these games, I just want to point this out. For the first 4 weeks of the show, we've had certain ones talking about how weak Kentucky's schedule is and how nobody's taking notice and how we don't get credit for who we played at all. And Louisville's getting all this credit and they showed links and everything. But can we point out that the first week both teams entered the top 25? Kentucky is number 20 and Louisville's 25. So Kentucky was doing something right despite playing who Louisville played. And also, might I add, that those quote-unquote tougher teams that Louisville played, there's some that's turned out to not be so tough. You see Indiana.
Okay. Well, I can look at it like this, player. I can say that it took Kentucky having to beat a sorry top 20 team to get into the top 20, and Louisville playing all these weak teams to get into the top 25. So, really, to be honest with you, who do they have more belief in? Louisville with their so-called weak schedule, or Kentucky having to have to prove themselves to beat somebody? See what I'm saying? I can look at it like that.
Go ahead, Ross.
The reality of it is this is real, right? I mean, we're going to have our sports banter. We're going to go back and forth. The truth be told, there's questions for both teams coming in this week.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it was questions big time. I mean, going into last week, I should say, Louisville on the road at NC State. Kentucky largely played a loop schedule, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't know who they were. Mm-hmm. Who felt like they got more answers coming out of Saturday is what I want to hear. Did Louisville get enough answers for what they saw? Now, like I said, and did Kentucky get some answers? I got some things for both. So I mean,
you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about that. Let's go ahead and talk about that. Out of this past week, who got the most answers out of their play?
Well,
who got that? Let's start. No, let's start with Perry. We haven't heard from him yet.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I'll just be honest. Kentucky got more answers, but not much because of the questions are still there with their quarterback play. Louisville, I think we've got questions with play calling. The answers that were answered were about our defense. Mm-hmm. Our defense answered a lot of questions, which was good. And, that's the gist of it. We all still got questions. I mean, it's just Kentucky's win is a lot brighter. So, y'all, the turds you all just polished is a lot, bigger than the one that Louisville polished.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Ross. You chopping at the bit.
Hey, I mean, I'm good. Like, I think that's fair, right? Okay. So I think I watched the Louisville game, right? I think Louisville had a big play receiver, right? The Bell kid, number 0, 3 catches, 85 yards. He looked good for Louisville. Mm-hmm. I think the quarterback play was okay. To throw stones at Devin Leary, and I watched Plummer. He's not very mobile. I don't know. There's going to be some questions come up. But I will say this. Kentucky was able to establish the run game against what was supposedly a tough run defense, right? Regardless of what we say about Florida's offense. And our line play had been suspect against lesser competition. We found the fact that Ray Davis does play for Kentucky, and he's been an elite back in the SEC already, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we now found that, right? So we now have something to happen. Now, I will say this. I think quarterback play is way further along than people give him credit for. I think our questions are the receiver spot. But we'll talk about that. So that's my point.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. But go ahead, Richard.
Okay. First off, questions. Both teams have a lot of questions, but I think Louisville has probably the biggest growth curve or growth potential because we haven't yet put together a solid game against good competition. We have still yet. We either play a quarter or play a half. Excellent, then come out and bomb it, or vice versa. And this game against North Carolina State, it could have been the score should have been 20 to 10 or 23 to 10. We missed a field goal. We had a touchdown callback that was a catch all day, every day on Saturday and Sunday, and then some callback for homerism. But I think Louisville's still shooting themselves in the foot, making these games look tougher than they really are. Indiana. Now Georgia Tech, I'll give it to them. That's the first game of the season, but the Indiana game, we should have blown them jokers out of the water. We shot ourselves in the foot like we shot ourselves with North Carolina State. Yes, it's a tough team on the road, but a lot of that, our quarterback, oh my God, we're gonna live and die by the plumber. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna cost us a game. We're just gotten lucky that our one aspect of the team has picked up the slack for the mistakes of the other. And like I said, Plummer, I have no faith in the kid. This is a 6-year senior, and this dude plays worse than freshman off, walk on freshman or first year freshman coming straight out of the, with no practice. I've never seen such a baffling kid. He got into his own head in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as growth potential, we have so much growth if we fix the Plummer, if we have play a full game. I mean, there's issues that we have that I think that if we could solve those things, we're going to be a tough team. Now, I give on the Kentucky side of it, man, Ray Davis, he's a beast. I don't know if he's Heisman potential. I mean, Heisman, he's going to make the Heisman list, but because there's so many other quarterbacks, so many other good players, it's a tough year this year to really shine. You have to really be spectacular. He put up these numbers against Georgia. Oh, yeah, he's going to be on that Heisman list for sure. I believe that. And that's you all's bellwether. Our bellwether is Notre Dame. Them clowns, they said they'd won 20-some-odd straight games against the ACC. We did beat them when we joined the ACC. I think we're 1-1 against Notre Dame since we've been in the ACC. So maybe we were the last ones to beat Notre Dame. I don't know, but we haven't. We can beat these. We can beat them. After watching them play Duke, I think we have a chance to beat them now at 50-50, but we do have a chance.
I think Richard is segueing into the other part of it, but that's all right. That's all right.
Let me back up, and I'm going to finish off. I'm going to finish up my little segment. But I think, like I said, I think we have so many questions, but I think we have a bigger growth potential than Kentucky. I think they've answered a lot of their stuff when it came to being able to put together defense, solid defense, and then the run game. I think Vandy put you all stopped y'all a little bit. But to see what happened to Florida, them guys must have thought they could just walk on the field. We got it. We ain't got to prepare for Kentucky, and y'all smacked them in the mouth for it. So, congratulations.
Got you. All right. Dietrich down there, Louisville got all bad answers. All right. What do you expect from him?
Don't fall off the boat, man. Don't fall off the boat. I'm looking for you.
You see Sean Gurdon said 3-0 in the ACC and played 4 Power 5 teams. So he's pumping out his chest exactly what we've been talking about the past 3 weeks. All right. Hey, I'll say this. You said something that was very interesting. You said that Louisville has more growth potential. I don't think that Kentucky I don't think that Louisville has any more growth potential. I think the biggest thing for Louisville is playing a complete game. Like you guys, for majority of your games, you played one great half, and then the other half is just like, okay, we decided we didn't want to play now for whatever reason. I see with Kentucky, we still have a lot of structure issues, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. But we still have a lot of structure issues, so I think that we actually have more potential for growth. But we did answer more questions this past week. Our defense, I think everybody's going to agree now. Our defense is one of the elites. Our running game, the running back himself is one of the elites. I think I saw online that as far as stat-wise, he's top 5 in the nation in some running back stats and number 1 in the SEC as a running back. So, I mean, I know Jesse Palmer joked on should we start the Heisman, but he's almost at that point. So we'll see.
I think if y'all get
but let's
he
go.
puts up those stats against Georgia, he's there. So.
Let's get into what did we see against NC State. Go ahead, Perry. I know. Richard has already gotten here, but go ahead. What do we see against NC State that's giving you pause? What did you not like? What did you like?
Well, the biggest issue I saw was play calling, and a lot of my fellow Cardinal fans, some of them don't agree with me, but what I saw was just the fact that Brom gets to a point where he's locked on pass. His philosophy is I'm going to get it with the pass. And I don't know if it's because he felt like he was down 10-0 and he had to come back and he realized how slow the game was and how each possession was going to be important. And so when you pass the ball, you speed the game up, especially since the rules are calling for them to no longer stop the clocks on, on certain things. When you get a first down and no longer stops the clock, it's long enough for the refs to put the ball in place or something like that. So, I mean, it was a little disconcerting to see, us just chucking the ball when we could run, and we ran in the beginning of the game. We ran at certain parts of the aspects of the game, and it's like anybody else would have said, okay, let's stop and let's start running the ball. I think post game, Brom talked about how they needed to get Plummer more protection.
Yeah.
I think Plummer, he managed the game fairly well. He just, every now and then, he made some mistakes. And if you go back and watch the film, one of his interceptions, it was him being off the same page with the wide receiver. Obviously, he threw to a different route. He was expecting somebody to be there in the middle of the field on a timing play, maybe a cross or something. The second interception literally was, you watched him. He was looking off to the left side of the field so he was trying to look the defense and the safeties over to one place, and then he quickly turns and throws back across his body. But he got hit as he was trying to release. As he was in the middle of his releasing, he couldn't finish his release motion. So instead of just holding on to the ball, it ends up being an interception. But you could see the tight end in the back of the end zone on the right side, wide open.
Gotcha.
So some of his mistakes are just corrections. Some of it is play calling. Some of it is his recognizing his protection. And I know I'm going all in on the quarterback, but at the end of the day, we still have the components and the parts to be a very good team. We're going to see what we're made about against Notre Dame, because that'll be the best defense we played all year outside of NC State's physicality and blitzing style. That'll be the best defense we played all year, and that'll be the offense. Later on, I want to talk about the differences between how Notre Dame beat NC State and then how we beat NC State, and the differences and similarities between the two. But go ahead and run the film.
Yeah, let's go ahead and see what happened there. This is Louisville's first score.
Hey,
No, that's NC State.
NC State's first score.
Yeah, it's the black. They got on black.
hey, I was getting ready to say that was probably the longest rush that Louisville had all game. I mean, they had 20 rushing yards for the game, y'all.
Get them, Ross.
Well, they didn't run as much as they should. See, that was.
I mean,
They
20.
They didn't run. The play calling did that. It wasn't nothing about them really shutting down the run. I guess they took their opportunities, but Brom didn't run. Didn't play. Didn't run a lot of plays. That's the thing for rushing. Didn't call a lot of rushing plays. He was too busy dinking and dunking trying to get the ball down the field.
So I mean, I think I agree with you. Like a lot of the play calling, because of NC State blitzing basically every day. They just blitz the line of scrimmage, right, over and over again. So then maybe he got away from the running game, but there was plenty of opportunities there, that I felt. I watched this game intently, just on a.
He mixed in.
See, he is a secret UL fan. He's wearing red. He's watching.
See,
listen,
I knew you was going to
He said that.
I ain't going there on it.
Hey, my money's green. My money's green, and I don't choose no colors. You know what I'm saying? When I was rooting heavy for the Cards, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. Right now, I was like, hey, let's go down and get some points.
he said they made me money.
Hey, right now, I was like, yes.
So,
Yeah.
this was the difference. Our defense played better than I thought they would ever play. Holding these guys to 200 total yards, even though their offense is one of the worst offenses.
Can I add something when y'all get done? Let me tell you.
Go ahead,
No. This is your team. I just want to add whenever you're done.
I was going to say that with Indiana, we had no business giving up what we gave up to Indiana. And today, Indiana fired their offensive coordinator. Today, Brennan Armstrong, the quarterback for NC State, got sat down, and he's now no longer the starter for the next game. So that's what you expect your defense to do, and then but with the IU situation, they were running up and down the field on us. So I think there's one other thing I want to add, that I'm going to shut up. I can tell that this is a new coaching staff, and so they're literally breaking in a lot of pieces, and it's going to be a lot of, and that's why it's good that we played the schedule that we played, because they're breaking in a lot of new pieces. They're breaking in a new system. You got players that are 4-year players, 5-year players that have been sitting there, and they've been learning Satterfield's system his defense and his offense. So you can see that day by day. You can see the players, especially on defense.
Your arch
We were trying to
nemesis.
get you on here, Tyrone. We were trying to get you. Were gonna call on Tyrone, with that tight shirt on in that picture there.
Hey, let's keep
We
it
love
all
you.
the way,
Miss you.
100%, y'all.
Go ahead,
The
Ross.
NC State offense was pathetic. I mean, like
They were.
their whole offense was geared around quarterback keep. It was pee-wee football. The quarterback couldn't throw the ball past 5 yards. Yes, I agree that Louisville's defense was in the right position, but this group right here, R4, could have held NC State in check. They were not a good offense, right?
They did better against Notre Dame than they did against us. I will say that.
Maybe so.
They
I mean,
did
maybe
better
because
against
maybe
Notre
Notre Dame allowed those quarterback sneaks or sweeps to get out there. The guy ran the ball
Yeah.
17 times. The quarterback.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, that was that's the linchpin of their offense. I knew it was a low-scoring game. The under had been like 30, 31, 32. It was a low-scoring affair. But I think this. I'm questioning Brom right now. He doesn't trust Jack Plummer, whatever the plumber, because the play calling really seemed disjointed. Like he's not turning the keys over to the guy. Like he's coaching defensively. You know what I'm saying? Like he's protecting the quarterback. It's a lot of protected scenarios. They're not five widening and like the Louisville Brom offense that we're used to seeing, or Western Kentucky under Brom, was a lot of get a guy out in space, get it to your athlete, and get going. Right, 5 wide, screen them out, hit them down the seams. Get you all out of sorts. That was not what we saw. And I know NC State's defense is good, so you got to give some credit there. But I feel like abandoning the run game.
But Ross, what you saying that goes along with what I've been saying for the past few weeks. I've been saying all along that Louisville's more proficient in their offense, and Plummer, he's got a higher completion percentage because you're not doing a whole lot on your offense. You're not doing a whole lot on your offense. He's condensed that down and concentrated and said, hey, let's do this. Let's focus in on this. Let's zero in on this. And we seen a lot of that against NC State because, I mean, you had times where you have your DBs playing 7 to 10 yards off the ball, off the line of scrimmage, and there was no quick passing play for that. Where's the quick outs to take advantage of that? There was none of that. So, he was really like, let's focus here. And like you said, he's protecting his quarterback. So,
man, you got some haters on the stream tonight.
Oh, you what they comment?
this one, Tyrone. Hey,
yeah,
Coach, I think we can take him.
Hey, you can't know all about them homecoming games. They know all about playing for everybody's homecoming.
So I mean, come on now, player.
All right, so look at Sean Gurton said before last week, U of L led the nation with plays over 60 yards. Okay, so this is interesting. Because you bring this up, but we seen also that Kentucky was like top 3, top 4, whatever like that in explosive yards. But then, Sean, you bring up this stat right here, which is similar to what you brought up last week, Perry. So it shows that you guys.
I looked for it, Lathan. I couldn't find it.
You couldn't find what?
The stat that you talked about. I looked all over.
I showed. Okay. To be fair, guys, I showed it in chat. It was a screenshot. So he's trying to look and compare. But yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, it is very interesting on that. So you guys have that explosion ability, but I don't think it showed as much against NC State, though.
I'll say this for them: like if explosives are great, but when you get into conference play, into the nitty gritty, which we're both going into. Right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We're both going through our gauntlet of schedule. Both teams. You know what I'm saying? So all the explosives sound good, but can you run the ball in a tough, grind out game?
Yeah.
20 yards ain't gonna get it done against.
Okay.
Notre
Well,
Dame.
let me ask you a question. Let me add a little caveat here. Do you think Ray Davis would have had the same performance if y'all played down in the swamp?
We beat them at the swamp last year. I mean, we ran for 100. I don't know who would we run for 200 yards on the ground last year. So it's not like we're not adverse to running on Florida. But I understand your point. Point taken. He's not going to run for 300, right?
Because this is other than Vandy, this was your real home. Excuse me. Well, I guess you only had one away game, right? And that was Vandy. So you
Right.
guys played in the comfort of your home.
We have.
And then when you played at Vandy, Ray didn't get 100 yards rushing. I don't think he. No, he didn't.
Hey, so I got a question.
So
We
I'm
got
just curious.
But we
All right, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Kentucky. Let's not go there yet.
Can I add that though? I'm not going to talk about Kentucky. I just want to answer to that exact point.
Go ahead.
We didn't brag about all the explosive plays that were happening. That was y'all. That was Sean Gerton just said led the nation and blah blah blah. But if you watch the game against NC State, I don't think anybody agrees with that.
Exactly. It didn't show up then. It didn't show up again. Then I
Kentucky
said
ran for 70 yards on 38 carries at 1.8 yards per carry last year in the swamp. Y'all did get the 10-point win.
I know.
Like
I know. Last week,
Thank you for looking that up. Good call.
I know. Last week, I did bring up that.
We do have a thing that we talk about people with alternative facts.
Yeah, I
so
saw that.
let's-
I like that.
All right. So real question from Tyrone Johnson. Real question. Okay. Do y'all think that your run defense is solid? I guess this is for Louisville.
We'll
This is
find
for
out.
Louisville fans.
We'll find out.
Yay.
Against Duke. We about to find out.
Is it
Well,
Duke
I'll tell you
next or
what.
is it Notre Dame
No,
next?
it's Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
We played Notre Dame, but I do know one thing, and this is apparent in the last two games. If you put pressure on Hartman, boy, he is due a do. I mean, if we keep putting pressure on him, I mean, they was putting pressure on him all night, and that had that guy frazzled. I mean, he finally put together that last drive, but it was a scramble for him all night long, and I was surprised Duke was able to do that. And I believe if we can do that, I think we have a chance to win. So
To answer his question, Tyrone's question, I think that it really depends on which Louisville team you get. I mean, because I remember the very first game of the season, it was a tale of two halves. I think I came in on the second half, maybe against Georgia Tech, and I'm like, look, maybe that was the first half, and I was like, dude, they just ran it through this dude's gap, and he's not giving much effort, and I was like, okay, so Louisville can't stop the run, but then I think it's the second half. Where did all this come from? I don't know if it's a depth issue because depth. If you can see that fall off, and I think one of the players, Devin Neal, his safety for Louisville, his dad responded. He said one of the adjustments was that we stopped substituting as much. So, and if that's the case, if they stop substituting as much, that means Louisville can't go to their second and third levels. You got to ride with your starters, and after a while, you can wear them down. So maybe your run defense is solid, but to a certain extent, So that's a big question for Louisville, and we have to see what happens against Notre Dame, because maybe you can hold up for a while, and then second half you fall off, or vice versa. So, all right. And with that said, Sean Gerton says Louisville defense had a bad quarter. Second quarter against Georgia Tech. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's what it was. So yeah, because I think, Perry, you said that you guys played great for 3 quarters. It just bombed out the second quarter. But maybe that's what it is. Go ahead.
Okay, give me a second. Go ahead. I'm gonna come back to that in a second. I was
Next comment. Y'all's O-line leads the nation in cartwheels. Real fact.
Oh, that's not the case. That's facts.
Go ahead, Richard.
Well, I think the question was, do you think our run defense will hold up against Notre Dame? I think it will, because if you look at the last couple of games here, our run defense has been getting better and better every game. That Georgia Tech game, first game of the season, got to take it as it is. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. But going forward, even at the Boston College game, they got 132 yards total rushing, but no single back got over 50 yards in that game. It was a what do you call it? A plethora of backs trying to run, but nobody got significant yardage against Louisville. And then against Indiana, I think they only had like 40 some yards total rushing. So I think our run defense is getting better. The question I have is that back end, this is the DBs, that secondary. That's been the question to answer, and they stepped up this week. However, once again, I want to see them do some consistency. So that's why I said we probably have a bigger growth potential out there, because we got that question to answer. Our back end of the defense, our quarterbacks, our skill players, the running backs and receivers, we got that covered.
Yeah.
But we still questions about the offensive line. The offensive line took a back seat this last game, and they've been gradually, tipping down a little bit.
All right.
So that's a question that's got to be answered. Hey, but we're going to find out against the Notre Dame game. But the question was asked, do you think our run defense? And I think, the line will stand up. I think both our lines will stand up. The question is, can they get pressure on Hartman? Because he's proven that he is, and we beat this guy when he was playing at Wake Forest. So there may be some advantage to gain out of that because we know his tendencies. But if you can put pressure on him, he will fold, and he proved it in that Duke game. He just got that last drive. Duke should have won that game, and I agree with you, dude. He should have won that game.
Hey, the Notre Dame running back leads the nation in rushing.
Right? Oh,
he didn't. Did he? I mean, how many yards did he get yesterday?
Audric Estimate, is his name. He's right at 600 yards. So, I mean, Ray Davis is right behind him. I mean, he's right on his back. But
so we'll find out. But I think
he had an 80-yard run yesterday against Duke, or Saturday against Duke. Outside of that, he 13 carries for 50 yards. He was respectable. Duke just really, really pushed the envelope on trying to run. You've got some teams that are really they really want to run and pass. And so I feel like Notre Dame is a team that's a lot like UK. They got a serviceable quarterback, a very good quarterback. Don't let me cut him short. And then they've got a solid run game with a very good offensive line. And so opposite of UK, I know Lathan's going to call this out about the practice and how they were trying to formulate stuff against the first 4 quarters, all that. Notre Dame has had a rougher season, so they've been playing these people up front. And so they've been developing their running game and keeping it steady along with their passing game. So, I mean, I feel like, and I'm just going to say this, when it comes to Notre Dame, now, y'all not playing at 7:30. UK ain't playing at 7:30. It's not in prime time. But anyways, so the Wolfpack actually did better against Notre Dame. They did pretty good against Notre Dame than they did against us. They scored more and did some more. Their defense also did a little bit better against Notre Dame. Quarterback threw for 286 yards. Our quarterback threw for 286 yards on NC State. So there's going to be some gaps, so we'll see.
Tyrell said you're playing on Peacock South. It's crazy. All right, it's we 34 minutes in. Let's go ahead and
Georgia gonna keep talking. So you talking all that live instead of you just gradually coming into the cut downs. Georgia gonna make you humble real quick. So be careful because y'all playing down there at the edges.
Remember this, record them right now. Like, go on, cut this out. You heard him talking that mess about Georgia, right?
Yep.
You heard him. Like, I go to Georgia, they gonna slap it. Remember this. We come back next week, we have that conversation, and that don't happen. We don't have to get some crow to serve up. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm gonna tell you something, and I don't know who gambles and who doesn't. I don't advocate gambling, so I'm not preaching gambling. But I'm gonna tell you about lines and odds. The odds opened up at 23.5, Georgia favored. Within an hour, the line went to 14.5. 98% of the money was on Kentucky immediately. So the money is understood. You understand?
Yeah.
Like there's people right now talking about, hold on, Kentucky actually might be better than Georgia, but they might be ahead of themselves, right? But the conversation is different. You don't hear not a soul saying, Notre Dame, watch out. You're walking into a trap because the 10 points or the 13 points that they rabbits footed out of the NC State game is going to scare y'all. Listen, Notre Dame's not scared of going to Louisville. I'm going to just say
they should be. They should be. Every time they come down there, they had problems. They should be.
Listen, Jake the Snake Plumber's son,
Jake the Snake,
third remove. He's not the kid from Arizona. Y'all got this version.
Man, what y'all dig up his clown at?
Y'all didn't get the good one. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got this plumber. You know what I'm saying?
Look, man, we had
my house fixing our bathroom. Y'all's plumber just fixed my bathroom.
We had a Reggie Bonafide beat Notre Dame.
Ain't nobody Leary either.
That's fair.
Hey,
listen, when y'all talk about us, remember what I'm telling you. It ain't our quarterback because our quarterback has whooped y'all's ass already. So don't talk about us about what our quarterback do. We know he's seen y'all. We know he's taking y'all to the shed.
Wait a minute. He saw Satterfield. So he didn't see
Okay.
Brom.
But it
So
wasn't the Cardinals. Yeah,
we
hey,
finally
hold
got a
on.
coach that understands this rivalry. So
Okay.
let's
Oh, is that what it
I'm
is?
gonna keep my
Okay.
They
mouth.
Oh, that's
We
fair.
understand
finally
the
got a
rivalry.
coach that understands the importance of this rivalry.
All
It's
right.
not just another game on the schedule. And
Fair.
yes, we'd like to win it, but this is not going to be
Oh,
something that
y'all ain't
defines
stuck.
us.
Let's
No,
blow them
he
up.
knows that this is a game that will define us. So
All right.
yeah, so it ain't
All
you.
right.
You may have beat us last year, but you beat Satterfield last year. Tell
Okay.
it to Brom. So okay.
Hey, all right. So last comment, Cody said, I mortgaged the house at
Yeah,
23 and a
that's
half.
what I'm saying. Like, go ahead, Cody. Get that money.
Hey, but let's go ahead and switch gears. Let's because we're 37 minutes in. How about those Wildcats? How about those Wildcats dominated the Gators
They did.
33-14. 33-14. Go ahead.
Hey,
Hey, it sounds like you ready to talk. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, it's good. Listen, I had family in. RJ, my son, came in from Louisiana. We
Yeah.
had seats at the 50-yard line. We got treated nice by some people. So we had some great seats. You know what I'm saying? My daughter was there. We had a great time, right?
So you was at the game.
Oh, we were there.
That's
we were
what's
like,
up.
I could touch the players. I was like right here, like, hey, what's happening, fella? So
That's what's up.
You could tell from the first snap, that game was going to go that way.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like there was an immediate 3-and-out for Florida, and it was an immediate shove down their throat with us down the play. Bro, they were in trouble from the jump. We're gonna sack them on the second play. Go ahead, and we get
Yeah.
done. I like
Yeah.
it. Well done. Look, the production around here is high.
Oh, we trying. We're trying, man.
Derek Jackson off that edge. So Kentucky's got two linebackers that are really playing at a high level. Derek Jackson and Trevin Wallace are high caliber players, man. They're really high caliber.
This play right here, that
Yep.
no other running back on our roster is going to make that play.
Nah.
No other
And
running back.
And that's one thing that worries me. Is,
Yeah.
is carrying the rock too much because, one thing I will say, I do love Lee and Cohen's bag. You know what I'm saying? He's good about mixing up the look and how we get guys in space.
Yep.
But you're gonna have Juton McClain, the kid that transferred from NC State, is a good looking back. He's gonna have to get some carries too. But you can't. I don't want to pump this kid for 30, 40 times.
Yeah. But see, and that's one thing that I want to get into after you get done, because right now we have to, and this scares me against Georgia, because we look at this game and we say, "Oh, big blue wall's back, big blue wall's back." There's some cracks in the wall. There's actually some cracks in the wall, because if you look at, let me point this out, that delivery. Did you see that side throw that he did right there? That you don't get that, but from an experienced quarterback. One that can deliver the ball at different points. But let me get back. There's cracks in there, and so when you look at Pro Football Focus and you look at the player ratings, and you wonder, okay, we ran for all these yards against Florida. How come our offensive linemen aren't ranked that high? Their rating for the game isn't that high, and the issue is we're
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Keep that point. Like that right there. Listen, what makes UK special? Right there.
That big Deion Walker.
Bro, Dion and the nose. We have two guys in the middle that no matter who we play against have a problem.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're going to see it against Georgia. You're going to see it against every team we play. Pressure from the middle of the pocket is a problem.
Keyshawn Silver is
that's what I'm looking for. Keyshawn Silver made the MVP.
He's the most athletic nose that we've had under Stoops. He really is. He's the most athletic nose we had. Now, we've got some noses we got 3 of them that are in the NFL right now. Those guys are good at the point of attack. If it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, you're trying to get that first down, you're not going to get it against them. They're like a brick wall. But when it comes to athleticism and being able to move in that phone booth, we've had none better than Keyshawn Silver. I'm telling you.
I agree with you. And listen, to go back to the top, Brad White might be the most slept-on coordinator in all of college football.
Oh, in this offseason, past offseason, everybody was talking about he's the best DC in the SEC. One of the best in the nation.
Look at Kirby Smart. There's always there's always coach speak. So I'm not going to overhype what another coach says.
That's true.
But Kirby Smart says just today, he says, we always look at Kentucky and they bring something different that we don't see week to week. He said they're just a different type of team. In fact, we installed some of their things, some of their concepts preseason, right? Because
look at that power.
Brad White does different things, right? So, again, I will say this: I'm not sold on Florida. So I know they roughed up Tennessee. I know they
Mm-hmm.
roughed up Tennessee, and Tennessee, has been a problem for the last few years. Tennessee may not be that this year, and the SEC may not be that this year. All in
Yeah.
all, right? Big picture. However, this year, defensive interior line, linebackers, back end, Kentucky is really nice, solid defensively. We're not going to be out of any game. We're not going to get blown out by anybody.
No, I agree.
Now, we may not get it done offensively. If you lock in and shut us down, I'm really interested to see because now you and I are going to talk about who I really feel is the problem with our offense here in just a second.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I feel like that we're going to be in every ball game. I am really excited about our special teams. Look really good, right? We can take one to the house, and we're putting balls to the field. We're putting balls to the uprights over and over, right? So we're consistent in our kick game as well.
Yeah.
I'm worried. I'm worried about our outside perimeter. And listen, RJ, who played Division I receiver, my son, and we talked about this. He's got some concerns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things that he saw. So that's my concern. I will say this: people are hyped about Georgia. Georgia's the 78th ranked rush defense in the country. Guess what's going to happen? We're going to run on Georgia. We're going to run on Georgia.
I didn't know they was that low.
Yeah, they're not. They're like number 3 pass defense, but they're like 78 rush defense. This isn't your mama's Georgia, your daddy's Georgia. This ain't Herschel Walker and them. This is this version of Georgia, right? And they're not as good. You saw what happened at Auburn. You saw how they struggled. You saw they struggled 2 weeks before that. They're not that. And even when they've been good, they've had their toughest times against Kentucky over the
Didn't
last
they
couple of
struggle
years.
against Missouri last year?
Now,
Weren't they down like 16?
Yes. Yes.
But didn't UK
Missouri?
struggle against UK?
Yes. We did.
I mean, okay, we can go there if we want, but this is one thing that I want to point out. This is one thing I want to point out with this offense, because Perry, I think earlier last week, not last week, but Saturday or maybe Sunday, you had a comment about Florida not being well coached, and I'm gonna shout out this dude on YouTube. I know you guys won't be able to hear everything that he's saying, but his name is Jay Willie Silly, and he points out one thing. There's a play right here that I want you guys to see. He points out one thing on here, and this is specifically the play that we took to the house. You can probably hear him in the background on my. He's talking about the linebackers, right? You'll notice. Pay attention to your 2 middle linebackers in the middle of the field right here. All right. So now, what you need to realize when it comes to linebackers, the linebackers have their key is called triangle. All right. So triangle, the triangle key is you're watching pre-snap. You're watching guard to tackle to running back. Okay, guard to tackle to running back. So which means is this linebacker. If you can see my mouse that I'm moving around, he's going to read this guard, this tackle to the running back. What happens is these two is going to tell him if it's running or pass. All right. If they block down, that's telling you where the ball's going. If he blocks down to the right, then that ball's going left because the running back is always going off their butt. After that, after you see where the ball's going, you look and see that quarterback if he hands it off to that running back, right? So that's their keys. What they're supposed to do after they read that, they crash the line. These guys never crash the line, okay? And he's explaining it right here. I probably should have let the video go. But he's explaining it right here a little bit. His is a little bit different. His saying you just read the guard, but that's not true anymore. It used to be, but you've got a lot of creative offenses, and I'm gonna get into that in just a second after he plays this a little bit more. He can y'all hear him?
I can hear enough to know that he's going ham on him, bro.
He's going in on him.
Hey,
you see, they never.
Hey, look at the guy climb. So here's what happens: the lineman climbs to the second level. And
exactly.
The linebacker gave himself up in the hole. That guy
exactly.
In that hole. He gave himself up. He just threw himself at the mercy of the. Watch the cow top right here. Look, he just gave himself in the tackle.
Yeah. The guard climbs up to the second level, like you said, and the tight end on the outside gets the other linebacker. They never crash in at all. Now, Perry, when you say they're not well coached, and your reason for saying it, I'm not for sure what it is. Here he goes. He's showing another one. You see the tight end that gets that the first outside linebacker. It clears wide open. Just like that. They never fill in. So when you say, Perry, that they're not well coached, their linebackers were actually frozen, because what I don't get from this is, and I tried to show you guys, and I wasn't able to, what I tried to show you guys, the play before that. What it was is, no, what he did, it was a play. It was a, you can call it no, it wasn't play action. It was basically a pin and pull. So, because again, your keys as a linebacker is guard to tackle to running back. All right. So you look at those keys and you have to trust your keys. But the play before that, the guard pulled to the right. So the guard pulled to the right, and the quarterback starts going to the right as if that's where the play is going. But then the running back counters back over to the left.
Yep.
So once that happens, and it became a big play. And once that happens, what happens to the running back? What happens to the linebacker? It's just like when you do play action pass. If you kill a defense up through the middle on the run, then you do a play action pass, it freezes the linebackers. So on this one, they trust in their keys and they're flowing. Oh, wait a minute. Their keys is showing them wrong now because the ball goes the opposite way. So now in their minds, the linebackers, I can't trust my keys anymore. So now when we run this play, I'm frozen because I got to make sure the ball's actually going to the left. It may go back to the right. It may come up the middle. So because of that, and because that's the sequence of plays that Liam Cohen called those plays, it froze those linebackers right there, and bam, that hole was wide open straight to a touchdown. So a lot of those plays was more of how Liam Cohen is calling this offense and setting up the defense. He's scheming up the defense, and then you got a running back like Ray Davis that is very, and Dietrich, he said it right in text. He is a very smart runner. He's a patient runner, gets behind. There was one play where he stutter stepped the defender, but he didn't stutter step the defender to juke him. All it did was bottom time for the defender not to come to him to set up a block. So once he got the block, then he shot out to the right.
Yep.
That's an intelligent runner.
I think that for UK fans, we got to be smart, right? We can't put all eggs in the basket of what happened to Florida.
Yeah.
Just because, listen, the environment was wonderful. Like Kentucky did a great job, right? It was an early kick. People were worried about the fact it wasn't going to be at night. It wasn't going to be. Listen, the fans showed up and showed out. Fantastic, right? So here's my concern. So let's talk about it, right? The truth of the matter. Can we be honest?
Tyrone, it is next level. Go ahead.
Key, Varian Brown had a great season last year because they were freshmen. There wasn't a lot of expectation, right?
Right.
Brown, the speedster, Dane Key, the local kid, and they had good seasons.
Exactly.
This year, you're on the scouting report.
Yeah.
They don't block well. They don't run routes well. And if you want to, everybody's like, Larry's doing this. Man, listen, Larry's a fifth, 6-year quarterback. He's thrown for a bazillion yards, and he's got like a 70% completion rate. The guy's like, he's precise. He's got a good arm. He throws the ball well. And Liam Cohen is a proven coordinator. None of that is an issue. None of that is an issue. An issue is receivers not running the routes when the ball's not for them.
Yeah.
Right? Because good DBs are in the film room like, oh, he's jogging. It ain't for him. Let me slide over and cut off this tight end that's getting down the seam, right? Or let me watch Ray Davis out of the backfield. These guys are the issue, right? And when we saw the early games, Eastern Kentucky, the early that they would slug through, we didn't show a lot. We didn't show a lot offensively, but
exactly.
But what we also didn't do was those guys didn't step to the table and really flourish, in my opinion. Now we also lead the nation going into the weekend in drop percentage, 11.9%,
exactly.
the most in the country. So when you talk about potential with growth, let's say we catch the ball at
let me say something real quick. That is something that we have to really understand when we come and we start thinking that it is the quarterback, because our quarterback right now for the season is 57.7%, but he is leading the nation in drops, not the ball. All right. Not that the ball is inaccurate or anything. Sometimes the ball is not perfectly thrown, but it's right there where it's catchable. And in those, he is leading the nation in 11% drops. Just imagine, okay, so the completion percentage is 57.7%. 11% of his passes are drops. So what we're at 68% accuracy. So is the problem really the quarterback at that point?
Now, so let's do this. So this is how we dive in, right? This is where we dig in. So there's a lot left on the table. Have we used the tight end yet? We may have a top 20 tight end room in all of college, right? With Cummins and Caddis and Bates. We've got big time, like guys you see in the NFL type tight ends. We've not really opened up that playbook. And guess what's going to happen this week? This week is when you're going to see it.
Yeah. Because we have to.
We're going to have to. That's exactly right. So you're going to see a lot go into the tight ends, in my opinion. And I think that's going to open up and increase the catch rate and catch percentage. This is my opinion.
Yeah. I mean,
that's right.
No, I agree with you on that, because these guys have heard since the beginning that, hey, this game, Liam Cohen actually did something different that he didn't do the game before. Or, Liam Cohen, did we all forget the first game? We actually came out in the inverted wishbone, and we have not seen it yet. There is so much that Liam Cohen has under his belt that we're not seeing. It's eventually going to come out. But and Perry, I know you've been saying he's sandbagging. And in a way he is, because he's not showing everything. This last game, and that was the one thing that I was actually explaining to somebody, because they were like, Florida looks unprepared. And I think, Perry, you said the same thing. The thing is, we pulled out so much that game that we hadn't shown before. Did you guys realize, okay, we ran plays out of the shotgun, and then we ran plays where we brought a wide receiver in the backfield. We ran other plays where we brought a tight end in the backfield and did a power I. So we did a bunch of different things, and the run concepts weren't the same.
Right.
And your boy, what's his name? Jesse Palmer, he said it. I've been saying it for weeks. The breadth, the depth of the playbook that Liam Cohen has at his disposal is just plenty, and it's hard to prepare for all of that. So Florida,
these guys would know that they would be much happier with Liam Cohen calling the plays today, because if they were talking about last week at NC State, they needed some variables. They need some variance in that offense. You know what I'm saying? My opinion. Again, I'm not downgrading them, but I think that's what Kentucky has at their disposal. You know what I'm saying? So,
Tropical storm Fred sent a devastating.
So we're going to run just one play against Louisville. TD run right.
Well, I mean, I don't want to diverge too much, but I feel like perhaps Braun might be. I felt like he was sandbagging a little bit himself, because I've seen more from his offense, more creativity. But as Ross was saying, perhaps he's trying to protect the quarterback, which makes no sense, because it's a quarterback that spent 3 years in his system already. So he knows Brahm's system left and right.
They don't have an effort.
Well, that's a little weird to me.
But it's who are the guys that
I mean,
are going to
someone's playing in the background.
This past Saturday.
Yeah.
Ray Davis has been a big contributor.
I mean, I understand that, because he's the quarterback. Because one of the reasons why he's the quarterback is because he knows the playbook. So he played under Brown before, but we all seen it against NC State. There's something in that offense that he's holding back, that he's not showing yet. I mean, just the way you guys played that in the play calling, he's held that back. So
we're gonna see some stuff against Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's going to have to be, right? I think, and this is. Listen, we said that last week. Let's really amplify it. Both teams this week.
Yeah.
Kentucky's at Georgia, right? So everybody's like, and like all the Kentucky haters. I'm not my two brothers on the panel, but like Kentucky haters are like, yeah, y'all gonna find out you slapped at Georgia. Well, guess what? The nation doesn't feel you. The odds makers feels like Kentucky's going to go slap down there. In fact, there's a quiet confidence around here that we're going to go in there and do some things. Now, can we get a dub? Can we pull out that special? That'll be the difference between special and good. We've been good. We've been good. We've had 10 wins, what, 2 of the last 4 or 5 years, right? We've been there. So the expectation level is now up. And teams are down. So if there's ever a time to ascend, why would it not be now?
Hey, that's
Right?
what
True. The SEC
That's what
has never
Perry's been
in
saying.
a weaker position. Yep.
I agree. I mean, listen, we
This
can
is
call it
now
what
or
it
never.
is. And listen, and everybody can throw shade and be like, the SEC's down. Okay, it's down, but it's still better than every other conference, right? I mean,
True.
or listen, or
I don't know
on
about that.
par.
I don't
Okay.
know about that.
All right, I won't
don't
go
know.
far. Let's hold on then. It's on par with the best conferences in the country, right? Let's at least say that. If we lined up Kentucky, or let's say take Kentucky out, we lined up Georgia, Alabama, you know, put a couple teams out there. Are you telling me they're just going to blow us off the page with whatever you got in your conference? Clemson looks like crap. I mean, let's be honest. They're not anybody in the ACC, right? Florida State is the dog. They've been trashed for except for last year. They've been trashed going up to last year. Every conference is turning. Every conference is turning.
It's NLI, and the recruiting portal has evened things out a whole lot.
To me, not versus that unit.
You could see it coming a mile away. You know, the SEC still won their titles, but this year feels like totally different. I mean, you've never seen like Alabama lose like that at home. I mean,
Or
literally
get
getting
close
their-
or play close to a
Yeah.
conference of 5 team opponent
Yeah.
like that.
Listen.
South Florida. That was
Hey, guys.
embarrassing.
I'm not even joking. If the game were this week, Kentucky may be favored against Alabama at Kentucky because what is Alabama ranked 11th or 12th?
I don't know the way they handled Ole Miss. The way they handled Ole Miss that week. You know, he said the same thing.
That was
Yeah,
that
they
week.
came. I think they woke up. You know, then ticked off Saban. You know, I don't know.
I-
That's. I'm still not ready to put
Saban's
Alabama
last
down
year.
yet.
I'm saying this is Saban's last year. I'm
I
really
think it
leaning
is
into
too.
that.
I think it is
with
too.
you. I think the changing of the guard has happened, right? Georgia has ascended Alabama for the last 4 years or so, right? It's been a changing of the guard, and I don't think Saban, like Ariyama at UConn women's basketball, they don't handle that well. They're not going to stay in for the long haul, right? Guys get out. Guys
That's
get out
true.
of Dodge. They're like, listen, man, I'm not winning at this level. The recruiting, the landscape has changed. They'll go sing a song on ESPN and say, yeah, this Neil thing has really changed up, and it's really, bro, y'all were paying players 10 years ago. You know, right? I mean, they were sending packages. Now the kids can get the bag, and it's removed them from the power seat.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really
So
all starts.
these old dogs getting at it. But anyway, I don't want to hype on that train, but still,
You know, they get off the
the
ball.
changing of the
fast,
guard has
you know,
happened,
the offensive
or it's
line,
happening.
they're a lot
So
of big
like
guys that,
Missouri's good,
you know, take up a lot
Kentucky's
more
good.
space
Like it's a
in
different
this league,
SEC.
now
So
getting the
and it's a
SEC
different
play every single
ACC.
week, and no matter
So
who your opponent is,
it's a
you gotta
good time
be
for
ready
college
to make
football.
sure that you prepare
You know,
very well.
everybody needs to tune in each week.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So Tyrone's question: do y'all know who he's talking about? What's the player that committed to Louisville, came on campus, and then put into the transfer portal?
Basketball or football?
I'm guessing he's talking about football.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
any
it's
guy
my
that
job to
did
be
that.
the distributor.
Not on
of this
basketball.
offense.
He,
There's a bunch of
Football.
playmakers on the perimeter.
I remember
guys like Barryon Brown,
when
Taylor
Satterfield
Robinson,
quit, that's when
James
he went. He took his
you know,
name
tight
out
ends and running backs as
and
well.
wanted to
And all
go.
these guys
You know,
are
he came
playmakers.
because of
It's my job
Satterfield.
to,
But
you
when
know,
Satterfield
operate in
quit
the
and went to
offense,
Cincinnati,
making sure I'm
I remember, but I
getting
can't remember his
reads at
name.
the
He
right
must have been
time, giving those
insignificant
guys a
because he.
chance to make a play and, you know,
Hey,
Look,
but
Cody,
you know,
Cody
Cody,
Lowry,
fans or-
Not
Cody-
just Satterfield hated it. Your boy at Clemson hated the portal too. There's a lot of coaches that don't like the portal.
Yep.
Bro, and the guys that have had the guys that have had a corner on the market. You know, just like and not to bring basketball to the discussion, but people hated Calipari and all the recruiting things and Worldwide West, and they're like, you got to recruit an edge and advantage. Well, now players have a little more say, or a lot more say, right? Like Dion at Colorado revolutionized the entire roster.
We have to do our job.
Literally.
Like I said early on,
60 players or something transferred in and out. And
Yeah.
listen, and people are celebrating
Be a
it,
great opponent,
right? So
a
there's,
good challenge
and
for
there's
us
pros
to
and
kick off
cons to it,
SEC
right? I got feelings on both
we're
sides of that
excited to,
equation,
you know,
but
get on the road and
people are
go out there and
celebrating.
win.
It's just a different day, right?
Yeah.
So So the powers aren't the powers, right? But I'll say this though: we all got to deal with Texas and Oklahoma, who don't seem to be going anywhere.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean,
Hey, they look like that they're getting ready to enter the SEC on the upswing. So I'm looking at that. And I'm like, gosh, and we got to go to OU too. But I'm gonna see if I can make that trip. I'm gonna see if I can make that trip. That's gonna be fun.
I think I saw Florida. There's a guy that does like a YouTube deal, right? And I wish I had him because I'd give him pub. He had next year's Florida schedule.
Yeah.
Hey,
He saw
We were
it.
talking about that.
yeah.
We were talking about that earlier. That's the
Seen
one,
that, and I
man.
was just like,
Bro,
man.
yes.
Hey, but
First
He's
off,
like,
he's funny.
Kentucky used to be a guaranteed win. Now they run it through us like.
Hey, and the guy said he was like, "Who did we piss off?" And he was like, "Oklahoma, Texas,
Hey,
Alabama."
that's
And he
Spurrier,
was
man.
like,
Yeah.
Spurrier's
Texas'
coming back to
stepbrother,
get him.
Texas A&M, and
Spurrier, man. That's Spurrier, man. His mouth
Yeah,
came back
man.
to get him.
like a lot of what we've seen.
Your boy's getting fired next year. They ain't gonna fire him this year because they don't want a new coach to play against their schedule. So they'll wait till next year. Florida,
"Oh, Napier."
yeah, Napier. He's
He's the number 3 recruit class coming in the nation next year.
Hey.
So like the guy, so this guy Napier, right? He's an old guard guy.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
He's like, we do it the old-fashioned way, blah blah blah. But then he's trying to embrace the Florida. And he's trying to sell his people a dream. Here's the real truth. The
for
game
us, to be honest,
changed.
right now,
It just
where
changed.
we're at,
It has.
Florida missed, bro. They like listen. Miami reorganized, Florida State reorganized. Now Florida's in reorganization period, and they're behind.
Healthy.
Mhm.
You saw.
I mean,
Andre
they showed a stat.
the other
Kentucky
night.
has more
JJ was out at
4-star
right
players
tackle.
playing
There's pieces
than
on the defensive
Florida.
side of the football that got to get
You
healthy.
know what I'm saying?
too.
So
Yeah.
We'll
when
take this bye
Kentucky
week,
played
get
Florida, and
healthy,
everybody was like,
and,
well, Florida,
get
Florida. I was like,
ready
bro, we're the
for
more
the
talented
half run.
team.
I said the same thing.
We're the more highly recruited. It doesn't mean that pans out, but
Exactly. Yeah.
we're the more higher level
offensively, we got to
recruits
continue to
than
get better
Florida
at
did.
third down
So
conversion
it's a
rate,
different
and
day.
that
So
plays into what we're doing.
But you know, I always thought,
Into-
even regardless of you know the rankings on Rivals and 24/7 Sports and all that, just looking on film, Kentucky looks like the more talented team between
Yeah, they're right.
Florida. It's almost like that you should expect that win.
They should have.
Our third down
You
But
know.
what's not different? Hey, what's not
special
different
teams, we gotta continue
is
to
our
grow. We got a
ownership
lot
of
of young
Louisville.
guys who are playing a lot of
Okay, it's a cycle, dude. It's a cycle.
Here it
Lathan,
comes.
I think that is you that's got that. You may have them things playing in the background, those highlights.
Get back into game.
Oh, you can hear
It
all
may be
that?
you, dude.
In a week.
Yeah, we
Because it's
can
getting
all hear
louder now. I'm hearing somebody.
All right.
But no, it's a cycle, man. Look, Ross, it's a cycle, man. It's a cycle. You all have y'all's little little spurt of success. And like I said, I believe all that's going to change. It's going to make this rivalry a whole lot better. I can't say I'm not going to put who's going to win this year, but we finally have a coach since Snellenberger that understands the rivalry and appreciates that this is not just another game on the schedule. This is a defining game, especially for everybody in this state, in this area. So we finally have a coach that understands this and will make this rivalry more competitive and will mean something to him more than just, hey, it's another game. These players can get hyped all they want to, but my job is to get us to a bowl game and bump Kentucky whether we win or lose. No. This coach, Brom, he's played against y'all. He's played high school football in this state, in this city. He's a Trinity grad. He understands He understands this to the bone, to blood, bled, and bleed. Cardinal for life. So yes, this ain't gonna be no simple. Hey, if we win, he might even talk some trash before the game. So just put it out there. This is a different rivalry now. So enjoy this little success while you can. But from here on out, it's gonna be a totally different game now.
I think that's fair. I think your points are valid, right? I do. I think things go in waves. But here's where you'll know when the rivalry is really here. When you all start matching the in-state recruiting that we're doing. Because we're in your backyard, like putting our feet on your sofas like this, like. Hey, y'all got a player at St. X or Trinity? Cool, let's go get him. You got a player at Male? Okay, cool, we got him too. No, I'm not talking crazy. I'm having fun with that. But I'm saying,
I think
like,
that was last year or maybe the year before. It didn't happen this year. we've been pretty well and pretty active in the state this year.
No, that's good. And
Brom has
listen,
done pretty well.
the state
He's
is
not
worth
Satterfield.
recruiting now. The state is worth recruiting too. So
Yeah.
that landscape has changed. Back in the day, we had 2 or 3 players D1 worthy, right? So we would be fighting over less than players anyway and hope that they do well, right? But now, I mean, we're sending out product, right? I mean, 15, 20 kids, all D1, high level. Hell, Frederick Douglass here in Lexington has got kids committed to Michigan, and they're right here going big time, right? So I think the landscape's changed. So I agree with you. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, I mean, there was some built-in advantages to UK with Satterfield here. Oh my goodness, my bad. Somebody
Bro, you got everything going on over there, dude.
That's who's got all the noise going on.
That's not me. Put me on mute.
It
That's
is
not
you.
me.
That's
Put
you.
me
Who's
on
got
mute.
the fire alarm? It ain't me.
I just put him on mute. Nobody can hear it now. I just put him on mute.
Lit his ass on fire with their recruiting statement.
Yeah.
Nah, it's all good. Yeah.
Put him on mute, and now you don't hear it. So
Hey, but
yeah.
listen, do you think? I mean, do you all feel right? So you're hosting Notre Dame, right? And what's the odds on that game? What's the spread on that game? I'm just looking.
That's a good question. What is the odds on that? Because that's where we're going into next. Is what do we feel? Can we hold the line? I know ESPN's analytics says that Notre Dame has a 70.7% chance of winning that game, and the line right now is Notre Dame by 6.5.
Which ain't, hey, that's not bad.
No,
Because I think
that's right. So, and listen, I think that you're right. I mean, when you look at these things, like your defense aligns pretty well with Notre Dame. They're not like uber explosive, right? They're not a put up 50 type team, right? They're a Big Ten grind you out type. I will say they have a really special tight end that I think they found against Ohio State late in that action, which is what propelled that win.
they got a big number 88. That's a big tight
He's
end. That dude is huge.
And he's a guy. He's a guy, right? So I think that like Louisville defense will definitely have to put him on the report. You know what I'm saying, to keep the eyes on. And then that we've got our hands full with the tight end because Bowers to me is the best tight end I've ever seen in college football. And I'm going back. Listen, I'm saying ever. So Kellen Winslow, I didn't see senior. I got to see senior in the pros in. But Kellen Winslow, Miami, I don't think any of those guys can say anything to Bowers. I think that hand speed, blocking, the combination, the intelligence. I mean, he's everything. They run the first play from scrimmage. I'd almost bet from Georgia will be a damn Bowers screen.
Probably
Seriously. You can't stop the guy. He's not stoppable. You can just scheme him. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm not really impressed with Georgia's outside like I have been before. So again, but Bowers is he's gonna win a lot of matchups.
Yeah, Georgia's they're the number one team in the nation, but yeah, they got some cracks too. Look at them. Auburn took them to the end. They gave them all that they wanted.
Listen, Georgia has hung their hat forever of being the end all be all D line of history, right? I mean, the last 5 years, Georgia put up a D line with the Carter and them guys that was like, bro, you can't run the ball. Stop. Like, don't even run.
Right, yeah.
They're not like that anymore.
They're not like that anymore.
They're not like that.
So all right, we hour and 9 minutes in, 2 minutes in. So do we think that Louisville can cover? 6.5. 6.5.
6.5.
I think we cover.
Think
I
we
think
cover?
we cover.
Hey, quarterback can come to play. If the quarterback can come to play, and like, you know what? Do what Brom says. Keep it simple. Keep it in the scheme. I think the defense does a good enough job to keep them there, and Louisville could win. It's one of those nights. Is it a Friday night or is it a Saturday game? And I'm not talking joint.
It's Saturday night. Saturday night, and they're playing at home. So we might get the good quarterback this time. He's playing at home, so he'll have that crowd juice behind him. But I think we'll cover the 6.5. I mean, it's just a touchdown. So
it's going to be
we can
rough.
do that. Yeah.
It's going to be rough for Notre Dame because this is like their third straight game against a big, Super Bowl type opponent, to borrow a Calipari phrase. So it's going to be tough for them.
Sean Gurton says Louisville wins. The crowd is going to be electric. All right.
Oh, the crowd's going to be electric. Listen. I mean, this is the second time they've come to Louisville. Yeah. And the last time they came, what was it? It was what?
35 to 17 was they won, but it was close. I mean, I think we got an interception, and then we turned it over, and then they turned it over, and we were just down by like a score in the
Gotcha.
third quarter.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But the first time we went up there to Notre Dame and whooped them at Notre Dame, that was a shock too. We didn't think that was going to happen, but I think we could beat them.
Tyrone said it's going to be our Super Bowl. It's going to be a Super Bowl type game for you guys. I actually
One
agree
of
with
them.
that.
I think this will be the.
Yeah, it'll be one of them at least.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the first one.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, at least the first one, right? And if you won this one, then it would be Florida State or whatever would be the next one. But like, I mean,
It'll be we don't play Florida State. We got Miami and Duke.
Oh, Duke
on our
would be the
schedule.
one. Yeah. Well, this is it.
Those are our toughest games.
It's-
UK ain't even UK's our fourth toughest opponent.
Well, I mean, hey, listen. Hey,
According to the computers.
if that's the case, good luck in the Holiday Bowl when you're 6-6 your record. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man,
6-6.
we might have a rematch with you guys. You never know. You know, we stay out in the Holiday Bowl.
Look, man, look. He's talking trash, but
We might
all
be
I'm going to
sitting
say
on
is
the
I'm glad that both teams are undefeated at this point. And like
Yeah.
I said, we got our test. We'll see where we are this weekend. After that, you know, if both teams come out of this game undefeated, oh my goodness, the hype in this city and this state is going to be off the chain. I mean, I'm gonna have a red cup that's gonna have Cardinal Kool-Aid on it. I'm gonna have my red shades, and I'm gonna be on the next podcast. I'm gonna be in it. I'm gonna be
Drinking that red juice.
I'm
Yes.
gonna be honorary, talking all sorts of mess.
Yeah.
Alternative facts are gonna be flying left and right. Yeah, man. When we beat y'all 2 years ago, we whooped you. I mean, it's gonna be stuff flying out my mouth. I'm gonna be high on Cardinal
Kentucky beats
Kool-Aid.
Georgia, please invite me back to the podcast.
Yeah, I got you, man.
Yeah, you got to give me a big square. Give me the little small square in the corner. I promise I'll make it work. The little small square.
All right. So, all right. So, what about Kentucky? We come in. Right now, the line is 14.5 in favor of Georgia. I think that we cover that. No problem.
Actually, I think the line's
No, I ain't gonna say no
go
problem.
lower
I
than
don't want to
that.
say no problem. Yeah.
I think the line's going to go lower than that by the time the game day. I think it's going to be around the same as Louisville 7, maybe 10-7.
Yeah.
So yeah, y'all definitely going to cover. It's just
Can we get it done? Hey,
when
listen,
Georgia
Bob,
shows up. I mean, y'all playing in the hedges, man, and they after they seen how y'all whoop Florida, they definitely not going to overlook y'all. So
just take the data.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, Kentucky fans, listen. If my father coached at UK, right? This is what brought us here way back when in the 70s under Fran Kersey, right? So I'm a diehard, I'm a live-long UK in the program fan, right? We're now at a point where expectations are different. Going to cover ain't it. Like, it ain't it. Like, we got all the things in place. We got enough intangibles. We're not perfect. We're not perfect, but we have a team that can win it.
Here comes the Dallas Cowboy fan.
Nah.
Oh, we gonna win the SEC this year. We gonna win it. Well, I'm gonna tell you this.
If you beat Georgia, we're damn sure in the driver's seat. So how about that? Now, I'm not talking about what we're gonna do. I'm saying if we win this
your
one,
schedule, man, y'all schedule is rough.
exactly.
It's
So
not.
we
It's
can
not
all agree.
Cupcake City. So now we get to see if your boy is really built depth. Because after that,
But guess what?
Missouri ain't no joke this year.
Yeah, Missouri's
They're not
no
a
joke.
joke this year.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, it's not that. I mean, Alabama ain't gonna let y'all slip either. So
Exactly. No,
so-
listen. So remember, this is recorded, right? You hear
Yeah,
what
this
they're
is
saying.
recorded.
When it comes time and guys get beat, and all of a sudden they're like, "Man, Missouri really wasn't all that. Bama was overrated. They're not the." Bro, remember what they said.
Hey, I've been
Okay,
saying,
okay. I'm hands down.
I've been saying what I said
I'm
about
gonna say.
Florida for a long time. Since when
No.
they announced Napier as the coach, I was like, eh. And then
No,
him
I
going
actually-
6-7
I-
really sold me on the fact that he ain't gonna be there long. He's
Well,
not.
as
he's
a
not-
as a diehard Louisville fan, I'm gonna admit that yes, I expected Florida to whoop y'all or beat y'all. I didn't think they were gonna whoop y'all. I expected them to beat y'all, and I was thoroughly disappointed when it didn't happen. But looking back on this, I'm gonna tell you now, SEC is down this year, and after your nemesis like Alabama and Georgia looking weak, if you had any time in the last 10 years to make a statement and put out Kentucky at the top of at least the East Division,
Right.
this is the time, because if you don't do it this year, Texas, Oklahoma, y'all ain't gonna happen. Period. If y'all can't do it this year, it ain't gonna happen. And I'm like this. I don't want y'all to do it, but if you can't do it, if you do it, I'll step back. I'll keep my little trash talk to a minimum. But this is the year, Kentucky. This is the year. Y'all got to do
bet
it.
you
Y'all
don't.
got to do it.
I bet you don't. I'm a hear. Well, what do you always say? A dead clock is right twice a day or something like that. You always say
A broken clock is right twice a day, which is absolutely true. But I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to it. Like I said, I talk a lot of trash about Florida. I talk a lot of trash about y'all's weak out of conference schedule. If y'all pull it off, if y'all beat the Georgias, if y'all may lose to Alabama or Missouri, even if y'all beat them or even if it's close, even if y'all elevate yourselves to the SEC East Division, I'll tap down the trash talk. I'll seriously do, because y'all would have earned it at that point. Y'all would have earned it in my lifetime. Y'all have not earned it in my 50 years. Y'all have not earned it.
Say that again. You are on the screen by yourself. Say that one more time.
I say this. If you all pull it off, if y'all elevate yourselves to the Eastern Division champs, I will tap down the trash talk, because you all would have earned it this time. See what I'm saying? Y'all would have earned the Eastern Division champion. I'll give you that, because in my 50 plus years of living on this planet, Kentucky ain't won a single thing. Ain't won a single thing. See what I'm saying? Y'all's trophy, have y'all won anything in that trophy cabinet in football in 50 years? But I look at Louisville's trophy cabinet. We got every conference we've been in, and we will get one in the ACC. I'm going to go back and look at all of what they've done in my lifetime. In my lifetime.
Here we
I
go.
can't say that for Kentucky. I look over here. What is going on in Kentucky's cabinet? See, because if you don't do nothing this year, it's going to go into many years of, well, what did Kentucky do in the last 50 years? Nothing.
Hold on. Perry's got something to say. Go ahead.
What did I say? What did I predict last week about UK and Florida? What did I say?
You said that this would happen. You said that this would happen. I didn't think it would. Yeah, you was right on it. All right.
On the show, I predicted UK was going to win by no less than 2 touchdowns because of the way I saw Florida play, the way I watched what Utah did to them. Mm-hmm. I felt like the win of theirs over Tennessee was sort of fluky. But me and Lathan have both talked about how the fact that Tennessee was going to take a step back with Joe Milton as their quarterback. Mm-hmm. If you can throw short passes, but you can't throw down the field accurately, you're going to have a problem in anybody's offense.
I'm gonna be real with you. I think I'm gonna be the only person on the planet that will say this, because I went back and watched the Florida against Tennessee, that game, and because I wanted to see what was Kentucky up against or whatnot, and I know that Florida, they ran against them. I did not really see two physical teams. Even Florida, they ran well against them. I didn't see two physical teams. When I seen that game, I actually got confidence, because I was just like, yeah, they ran against them, but that wasn't really physical. I don't think that they can do that against our defense. And they couldn't. They couldn't.
Utah out physical them. Utah played them physical last year. It's just they won on some fluke play. So I'm like, this is where my whole thing about the SEC and everybody's catching up with the SEC, because a lot of teams are learning how to be more physical at the point of attack. But I mean, that outside, I gave UK props last week. I gave them props the week before. I mean, they have won a conference title in the last 30 years. They the MAC champions. They are the MAC champions. They beat all those MAC
Man, here you go. Here you go.
They got 10-0 against the MAC now.
Hey, listen, didn't y'all ascend the ranks by running through the MAC and the AAC and the Atlantic East West and the Metro? And you all.
Who you talking about? Who you talking about? I'm sorry. Are you talking about Louisville that had 4 out of 5 Power 5 teams on their schedule? Is that what you talking about?
Before UK did?
Is it the Louisville team that went down there into the Sugar Bowl and beat the piss out of Florida? Is that the Louisville team that you're talking about that's got 2 BCS bowl wins to UK's Jack 0? They got conference titles. Wait a minute. I'm just. Wait a minute. Who?
Dietrich said that Indiana's an undercover MAC team.
We took care of your bully for you. We took care of your bully for you. We took care of him for you.
Just talked about the Dallas Cowboys and what they used to do, and both of you all just sang the bird about what y'all used to do.
Wait a minute. At least we can say what we used to do. The last time that Kentucky won anything, it was so long ago that I wasn't even alive. But we can go over and talk about the things that Kentucky wish they could do. Let's not talk about the business of Louisville yet. Let's wait till Kentucky does something before we start talking and flipping the gums.
We got the deacons and the ministers and the lay people
Bro, you
preaching.
can't be Kentucky. All this rapid rhetoric.
We just need a
all
bishop.
Listen, they did all the theatrics, and they talked about we didn't win conference titles. Y'all played in a midget conference for like the last 50 years.
Wait a minute. So how did midgets come into y'all's conference and win? How did Missouri come into y'all's conference and win?
Exactly. Tell us how two upstarts came in and did more in the SEC that Kentucky, who's been a founding member for 100 years, hadn't been able to do. Come on now.
Hercules. Go ahead.
We just need y'all to win, man. We just need you to win.
You need us to win, but we slapped the shit out of y'all. We beat
Whoa.
Hold on.
But didn't we slap that tail for like 6-7 wins in a row? Come on now.
You know what's Bill Curry doing right about now? I mean, Satterfield was our Bill Curry. Satterfield was our Bill Curry. You know, we admit it. You know, we got him out of there now. We got a real coach now.
What era are we in? I mean, how many coaches have we siphoned through?
He's busy tearing down Cincinnati. That's
okay. We can go back to the past and pull up, but you're right. We're in the era of now.
What is your record
so,
now
like I said,
Kentucky? What is Louisville's record against Kentucky? How many have you won in the last 5 years? Where are you in this rivalry? You all were just saying. What was he saying? It was a song in the blues earlier. Oh, we're going to make this a rivalry again. That means you wasn't a part of the rivalry the last decade, fam. Pack up and get out of the word.
Wait a minute. Decade. Wait a minute. Okay, hold up. As I do recall, when Jackson was our quarterback, y'all was quiet that era. Nobody.
Wait a minute.
Who coined the phrase, let's wait till basketball season and we'll get our revenge?
Hey.
Who coined that phrase?
Hey.
UK, because they got tired of getting
guess
waxed
what?
on the field.
During Lamar Jackson era, we also coined the phrase fumble. Because y'all lost against Kentucky with that fumble. All right, hey guys, let's cut it right here. All right, we are almost an hour and a half in. This is our longest show ever because we got into heated discussion. Hey, this is what we love about Cats versus Cards. If you want to be on the show, I'm telling you, if you want to be on the show and battle one of these guys, you can. You can. We have a whole new cast if you need. Just contact me. Like I said, you can get a hold of me. Let me get it on the screen just a second. I'm kind of slow. You can get a hold of me right there. Will E. Dubs right there on Twitter. Okay? You can be part of the show, be a part of this discussion. As you've seen, we have some people today join in through chat, so you can be a part of that discussion as well. But tune in again next week, 8:30. Right here. If you got us on Facebook, join us again on Facebook. If you got us on YouTube, join us again on YouTube. All right. Thank you to Ross. Thank you to Perry. Thank you to Richard. All right. See you again next week. Peace.